People tell me all the time that I'm lucky to have money to invest. But I see that all those people who said this to me also could invest their money, they just make bad financial decisions. So most of the time, whether people have money to invest or not comes down to personal finance and making smart choices with our money. Because most people think that first, I buy everything I want for myself, like a house, a car, a swimming pool, an expensive smartphone, and then I will invest the rest of the money. But usually, after spending your money on new shiny things, there's nothing left. So people think they would need to earn much more money to start investing, but this is not how it works. If you are looking for happiness from spending your money, you will never find it. It's a huge delusion that spending more money will make you happy. Do you remember that expensive gadget you bought last time? How long did your happiness last? Maybe 2 weeks? In order to make smart decisions with your money, you need to make two categories in your spending. Is that thing you want to buy a necessity or a desire? Necessities are things you need to spend money on, so you don't have a choice. Things like food, electricity, somewhere to live, clothes, medicine, and things like that. Everything else you spend money on is not a necessity but a desire, or luxury spending. Of course, luxury is a very relative term. If you earn $300 a month, even buying a $20 perfume is a luxury. But if you make $50,000 a month, then buying a Tesla car is not a luxury. If you are watching this video, then you probably don't make $50,000 a month, so let's see how can you make smarter decisions with your money. Let's start with the two most important spendings in your life, your home and your car. Some people say that if you do these two things right, then other spendings are not that important. And of course, a home is the biggest spending in our life. Sometimes we spend 10 or 15 years of income on a home, but is it a necessity? Of course, we need to live somewhere, but most people think that renting a home is a waste of money. And that's a huge misconception. Renting a home can be cheaper than buying a home, mostly because of opportunity cost. When you put your money into a home, and remember, this is the biggest spending of your life, you can't invest that money, so you are losing money. This is called opportunity cost. Let's say that your house costs $600,000, but if you put that money into the stock market and earn 9% a year, you would earn $54,000 only in the first year, and even more and more money every year. That's $4,500 every month. So what's more expensive, renting a $600,000 home or buying it and losing money on the opportunity cost? A 900 square feet home costs $600,000 in Los Angeles. At the same time, you can rent a home of the same size for $1,600 a month. Not to mention, the price of your home will only follow inflation in the long term, but your money in the stock market will be growing exponentially with compound interest. And there are many other costs of owning a home. Renovating, buying furniture, interest on the loan, and some countries have tax. In my country, you need to pay 4% tax if you buy a home. So you lose 4% of your capital when you didn't even move into the house. And having a loan is a risk. You never know when you will lose your job and you can't pay the loan. I personally know people who lost everything because of this. Now, I'm not saying that you should sell your home right now and put it all in stocks. Although I know people who put $1 million in stocks instead of buying a house, and now they are financially independent. I'm just saying that most people live in a delusion because owning a home is not a necessity and it's not necessarily cheaper than renting. Buying a home is not the worst financial decision, but buying a too expensive one is definitely a bad decision. If we buy a home, we should buy the smallest possible place or rent it and invest as much money as we can, especially when we are young. So when you buy a home, just think about it first. Do you really need that big house? Or you just buy a big house because you want to keep up with others? Many people just buy a big home because they are jealous of others. So a too expensive house is not a necessity but a desire. If you buy a single family detached house, you will spend money on it for the rest of your life. A new fence, a new roof, a new boiler. I live in a house with 33 homes, so if anything goes wrong, like we need a new boiler, we split the money into 33 homes. When you own a detached house, you need to pay thousands of dollars alone to replace the boiler or the roof. They call it house broke when you buy a too expensive house and you don't have any money left. One of my friends bought a house and she asked for a loan to pay the 1% cost of the lawyer because she didn't leave any money after purchasing the house. If you don't have money after buying a home, you definitely bought a too expensive one. The second biggest purchase of your life is your car. Most people think that a car is a necessity, but it's definitely not. If you need a car because you use heavy machinery in your work and it's too big or too heavy to transport it on the bus, then yes, it's a necessity. But if you live in the city with public transportation and you only transport yourself and maybe your family members, then a car is a luxury. Imagine it's 2009. And instead of buying a car for $10,000, you put that money in stocks. For example, you buy shares of Home Depot. Today, only 12 years later, your money would worth $145,000 and you would earn $50,000 in dividends for 12 years. This year, you would get $260 in dividends every single month. But if you bought a car for $10,000 in 2009, today it would worth $1,000. Not to mention, a car has a lot of costs. Tires, service fees, insurance, and things like that. So over the period of 12 years, you would probably spend that $1,000 on the car, which would leave you with zero money from the original $10,000. So these two things, your home and your car, are the biggest spendings in your life. But if you do it right, you will have money to invest.